We are back in Northumberland on Driven Mad Road Trips. We're going to see a pair of twin villages. We're going to see a northern town. And we're going to see an old bridge. So, last instalment of this journey. Roll the titles. Okay, so we've crossed between Carter Bar, the A68 and the A697, and we've just turned off the A697 and we're headed for the twin villages of Ford and Etal. Both have castles. There's Heatherslow Corn Mill as well, which has a light railway. Yeah, there's Ford Castle. It's basically Ford Castle's basically a stately home. It's been turned into an outwards bound place with like dormitories and all whatnot. So yeah, Ford Village. The castle's on the left. And there's some let's go down here because it's just a nice little quaint village. Got twee little houses. And then there's the entrance to the Ford Castle estate. We'll do a nice loop. And that was nice. Let's go to Etal. Okay, we are now in Etal. So let's go to Etal village. Don't want to be late. One of the very few thatched buildings in Northumberland. There's two down near Barden Mill. There's the Black Bull here. And then there's Etal Castle, which is a little on the ruinous side. But yeah. We're on the banks of the River Till here. And there's a little railway runs for about a mile along the banks of the river. Fishing strictly private. And I'm not mental enough to go through the ford. Although it would be fun. I've set my sat nav to one of the most picturesque bridges in Northumberland. It's not because it's, in this case, not because it's one of the most scenic, but its olden technology is what's the more interesting part of it. And I don't think you can go to the north of Northumberland, particularly this area, without going and having a bit of a look. So, let's roll. So yes, we're on the road to see a nice, interesting bridge. The bridge we're going to see is a chain bridge, which is an early form of suspension bridge. It's from about the same era as other famous suspension bridges, particularly the Menai Strait Bridge. The Menai Strait Bridge was started slightly earlier, but this one was finished first, and for a while it was the longest suspension bridge on the planet. It's still the oldest suspension bridge that's still in use, that's still holding traffic rather. So anyway, this type of bridge, which you can probably see now, or you could see, is or was quite popular in and around Northumberland. Places like Newcastle had one from Scotswood over to Bladen. There was one near Hexham, still one on the North Tyne that's a footbridge. But it will remind you of things like the Menai Strait Bridge, the Clifton Suspension Bridge, etc. And it is, very small. Very small. It is also very interesting. So you've got to be a certain width to get across, and I wouldn't advise doing it if you've got even something like a BMW X5. They are probably too wide to go through the holes these days. But yeah, there was originally a bridge like this a bit further upstream that was a bit older, but it didn't last very long. So I think we're going to have to go and have a look at the history of this exact bridge. So yeah, this particular bridge, it was built by a guy called Captain Samuel Brown. Now he was in the Navy. He saw the hemp ropes that were using in the Navy and thought, you know what, we'll try some iron rigging. So he set up a company making that. Anyway, in 1813 he built a suspension bridge prototype, and it was sufficiently strong for carriage. And John Rennie and Thomas Telford, that Tommy T, they thought it was quite canny. So in 1819 he built this particular bridge here. So he built this bridge in 1819. It was finished in 1820, and it's been in use ever since, and has been refurbished numerous times over the years. Okay, so we have taken a photo of the bridge. So there's only one more thing left to do before we turn back, and that is go to Berwick. Okay, so we are in Berwick upon Tweed. Now, two things about Berwick that I'm going to explore. Number one, there's some fantastic bridges. Number two, there's some city walls. Now, if I can remember rightly where each of those things are, I'm going to find them for you. Set the sat-nav for the bridges, and so that shouldn't be too bad, but the city walls, we're doing it by memory. The fact that we're just about to go under the railway bridge will suggest here fact, we're going under one of the awesome bridges. That's the viaduct, and it is huge. Right, and the third one, the one I was trying to find, is actually closed, which is a shame because Google Maps doesn't say it's closed. Wonder why they say it's closed. Yeah, to the left we've got the nice railway bridge. Below to the right that you can't see is the really old bridge. So that wasn't ideal, but we've had many road closures on this trip. Let's try and find the city walls. I think the walls will be down here. Yeah, that's across the walls. So yeah, this is an interesting place, which explains what the next part of the journey is. We're going to go down the Northumberland coast. Now, I'm thinking the tide may be in a little bit too much for one of our side quests. But I don't think we've got time for it anyway. We're going to skip Lindisfarne and we're going to go straight to the Northumberland coast. What would a trip to Northumberland be without a trip down the Northumberland coast? Now, in the village of Bamborough here, and as you can see, there's always a wow moment when you drive through this little village, because you see the castle, and it is a spectacular castle. You'll have seen it in a fairly recent Transformers film and a fairly recent Indiana Jones film. However, it's been in an awful lot of stuff, and it is one of the most spectacular castles in the country. Interestingly, it's got a history that's about 1600-year old. It was the capital of the kingdom of Bernicia, and it did come under Anglo-Saxon control in the year 590. The Normans built a castle, which, as you can see, is the main tower in the middle that you can see on the left. But it was improved upon, particularly in the Victorian era, by industrialist William Armstrong, who had a lot of industry in Newcastle. So anyway, the coastal route is something that I would like to come back and do a bigger video on, which is why I've cut out my 17 minutes of wittering on about it. But as you can see, left hand side, sand dunes, beach, lovely sandy beach, right, Northumberland countryside, and this is the road that separates the two. It's always a favourite of mine, and it goes between Bamborough and Beadnell with sea houses in the middle, where you can get a nice little boat over to the Farne Islands. Again, I want to do another video on this, and I now think it's time to blast home, go via Rannoch, and it's a nice long route. But anyway, just enjoy this nice little coastal road. It's again one of my favourite little runs out, and it should be on anyone's Northumberland itinerary. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the little trek I've had around Northumberland. I'm sorry I couldn't get out the car and take any more videos, because I did set myself the challenge, stupidly I must admit, to try and do it in a day and in between sunrise and sunset. As you can probably tell with the videos that follow, probably didn't manage that, but I hope it's given you the inspiration to have your own little adventure into Northumberland. So let me know where you think I should go next in the comments, and like and subscribe, and please tune in again for some more driven mad road trips.